This is the tale of Aladdin and the Tarnished Lamp, an unconventional story of desires, illusions, and the haunting darkness that threatens to consume them all. Prepare to be enthralled by this captivating audiobook, where adventure, love, and the shadows of the human soul collide and discover the true price of desires. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Tarnished Lamp. In the ancient city of Agrabah, amidst the bustling streets and majestic palaces, there once lived a young and enigmatic urchin named Aladdin. From an early age, Aladdin had navigated the shadows, using his wit and cunning to survive the harsh realities of the streets. His experiences had shaped his nature into a dichotomy of light and darkness. On one hand, Aladdin possessed a resilient spirit, fueled by his desire for a better life and his unwavering belief in the power of dreams. Yet, on the other hand, the scars of his past had etched a deep well of fear and distrust within him. This dark story begins in the bustling market of Agrabah, the scorching sun casting its unforgiving rays upon the ancient city. Dust and whispers of exotic spices filled the air, creating an atmosphere of intrigue and mystery. Aladdin's keen eyes scanned the colorful stalls, hoping to catch a glimpse of something valuable amidst the chaos. As fate would have it, his gaze landed upon a hidden corner of the market, where a peculiar stall caught his attention. Its contents were an assortment of old and forgotten trinkets, shrouded in a layer of dust. Among the knickknacks lay a tarnished and unassuming lamp, its surface marred by time. Intrigued by the lamp's enigmatic aura, Aladdin cautiously approached the stall. The old merchant, his face lined with the stories of 1,000 years, observed him with a knowing smile. "Ah, young Aladdin," the merchant rasped, his voice tinged with ancient wisdom. "You have a curious soul, don't you? That lamp you're eyeing has a history, a tale of wonders and horrors." Aladdin's eyes widened with both curiosity and skepticism. "What do you mean, old man? It's just an old lamp. What makes it so special?" The merchant's gaze turned somber, his eyes reflecting a hidden sorrow. "That, my dear boy, is a lamp that holds an imprisoned Djinn, a being of unimaginable power, but also of immeasurable darkness." Aladdin's heart quickened at the mention of the Djinn. Legends and tales of these supernatural entities had always intrigued him, but he had dismissed them as mere bedtime stories. "Is it true?" Aladdin asked, his voice trembling slightly. "Can the Djinn truly grant wishes?" The merchant nodded, a mix of weariness and caution in his expression. "Yes, Aladdin. The Djinn has the power to grant wishes, but beware, for its nature is cunning and malevolent. It thrives on the misery it inflicts upon others, twisting desires into nightmares. Approach it with utmost caution." Despite the merchant's warning, a spark of ambition flickered in Aladdin's eyes. The possibility of unimaginable power and wealth enticed him, clouding his judgment. "Fine," Aladdin declared with determination. "I'll take my chances with the Djinn. How much for the lamp?" The merchant's eyes narrowed, a mixture of concern and resignation crossing his features. "I cannot sell it to you, young Aladdin. It is a burden I must pass on to someone else. Take it, but remember the consequences." With a cautious nod, Aladdin pocketed the lamp, feeling its weight against his chest. He couldn't shake off the excitement that coursed through his veins, nor the chilling warning that lingered in the air. Unbeknownst to him, Aladdin held the key to a darkness beyond his comprehension, a force that would soon be unleashed upon the world. As he walked away from the market, the lamp clutched tightly in his hand. He had no inkling of the horrors and nightmares that awaited him. Little did Aladdin know that with each step he took, he ventured closer to a destiny that would test his courage, his desires, and his very soul. The ancient lamp pulsed with an eerie energy, dormant but ready to awaken the Djinn within. And so, as the sun set over the city of Agrabah, Aladdin's unwitting actions set in motion a chain of events that would forever change his life and the lives of those around him. Chapter 2: Illusions and Desires. Aladdin, now in possession of the mysterious lamp, returned to his modest dwelling in the heart of Agrabah. Excitement coursed through his veins as he anticipated the incredible power that lay dormant within the tarnished artifact. Ignoring the merchant's warnings, he believed he could outsmart the Djinn and bend it to his will. Aladdin closed the door behind him and placed the lamp on a worn-out table, its surface reflecting the flickering candlelight. With a trembling hand, he began to polish the lamp, removing layers of grime to reveal its true splendor. As the last smudge vanished, a surge of energy burst forth, illuminating the room with an ethereal glow. Aladdin stepped back, his heart pounding, as the Djinn materialized before him. A figure of darkness and smoke, with piercing eyes that seemed to penetrate his very soul. "Aladdin," the Djinn's voice echoed, cold and seductive. "You have awakened me from my age-old slumber. I am bound to grant you 3 wishes, but remember, every wish comes at a cost." Aladdin's confidence faltered for a moment, but his desire for power and wealth burned fiercely within him. He took a deep breath and spoke his first wish. "I wish for great wealth and riches," Aladdin declared, his voice filled with anticipation. The Djinn's eyes gleamed with an unsettling intensity as it nodded in compliance. In an instant, Aladdin's surroundings transformed. His meager dwelling disappeared, replaced by opulence and grandeur, a palace adorned with gold and precious gems, servants attending to his every need. But as Aladdin reveled in his newfound affluence, a disquieting feeling settled within him. The Djinn's promises came with a twisted price. The illusion of wealth masked a deeper emptiness, and whispers of doubt began to weave their way through his mind. Each day, Aladdin's desires grew stronger, his appetite for power insatiable. The Djinn, a master manipulator, sensed his vulnerability and exploited it, weaving illusions to trap him in a web of deceit. Visions danced before Aladdin's eyes, illusions of kingdoms under his command, adoration from all who crossed his path, and a world shaped by his whims. But the more he indulged in these fantasies, the more they twisted and warped, revealing a darker underbelly. The Djinn reveled in playing with Aladdin's desires, distorting them into grotesque versions of his dreams. The adoration turned to fear, the kingdoms crumbled into chaos, and the once lavish palace became a nightmarish labyrinth of shadows. Aladdin's mind became a battlefield between reality and illusion. he questioned his own sanity as he stumbled through the corridors of his mind, pursued by phantoms of his own creation. The Djinn reveled in his torment, whispering seductive promises laced with the poison of despair. Aladdin's once charismatic demeanor faded, replaced by a haunted look in his eyes. His pursuit of power had transformed into a maddening descent into darkness. But was in the darkest hours of the night, as Aladdin found himself on the precipice of his own demise, that a flicker of clarity pierced the fog of illusions. He realized that his desires were consuming him, and he had fallen into the Djinn's trap. With a newfound resolve, Aladdin set his sights on breaking free from the Djinn's manipulative hold. He would find a way to outwit the malevolent spirit. Chapter 3: Possessed by Darkness. As Aladdin delved deeper into his quest to break free from the clutches of the Djinn's illusions, a shadow crept over the palace, casting a pall of darkness over Agrabah. Unbeknownst to him, Jasmine, his beloved companion and the light of his life, had become the unwitting target of the Djinn's malevolence. Jasmine, once a paragon of grace and purity, found herself ensnared in the Djinn's wicked grip. The Djinn, taking advantage of Aladdin's vulnerability, saw in her the perfect vessel for its malevolent manifestations. Jasmine's gentle demeanor twisted into a sinister and maleficent presence, her once bright eyes now cold and filled with malice. Aladdin, consumed by guilt and the weight of his unwitting actions, became haunted by the horror of witnessing the transformation of the one he loved. Every glance, every word that passed between them was a chilling reminder of the darkness that now possessed her. Jasmine, under the Djinn's influence, reveled in her newfound power. She became the embodiment of all the Djinn's malevolence, wreaking havoc and terror upon the once peaceful kingdom of Agrabah. The people cowered before her, their hopes and dreams shattered under her tyranny. Aladdin, torn between his love for Jasmine and the responsibility he felt for her transformation, could not bear to face the truth of what he had unwittingly unleashed. He found solace in the company of the merchant who had sold him the lamp, the same merchant who had warned him of the Djinn's darkness. The old merchant, wise and weary, saw the torment in Aladdin's eyes. "You have witnessed the consequences of your desires," the merchant said, his voice filled with a mix of sympathy and reproach. "But the path to redemption lies not in avoiding your responsibility, but in facing the darkness within and without." Aladdin's heart sank, but he knew the merchant spoke the truth. He had to confront the horror that now possessed Jasmine, to find a way to save her from the clutches of the Djinn. With a heavy heart, he resolved to delve deeper into the twisted depths of the Djinn's realm. As Aladdin pushed forward, he found fragments of the true Jasmine hidden within the twisted manifestations of her malevolence. Memories of their love and the purity that once resided within her flickered like fragile flames in the abyss of darkness. Aladdin clung to these fragments, igniting a spark of hope within him. In the depths of the Djinn's realm, Aladdin came face to face with the corrupted version of Jasmine. Her eyes, filled with a mixture of anguish and malevolence, locked onto him, and a chilling smile played upon her lips. "You have unleashed this darkness upon us, Aladdin," she hissed, her voice a sinister echo. "Now you shall witness the true extent of its power." With a wave of her hand, the Djinn's manifestations closed in on Aladdin, trapping him in a nightmarish embrace. But in that moment of despair, Aladdin discovered the strength within himself, the strength born from love and a realization of his own culpability. Summoning all his courage, Aladdin resisted the Djinn's grip. He called out to the fragments of Jasmine's true self, urging her to fight against the darkness that had consumed her. Chapter 4: Confronting the Djinn. In the depths of the Djinn's realm, Aladdin stood before the malevolent entity that had taken possession of Jasmine. Determination burned within him as he faced the embodiment of darkness, the source of his anguish and guilt. With every fiber of his being, he vowed to save Jasmine and banish the Djinn back into the confines of the lamp. "Release her!" Aladdin's voice echoed through the shadows, filled with a mix of desperation and resolve. "You have twisted her, but I will not let you consume her completely." The Djinn's menacing laughter reverberated, shaking the very foundation of Aladdin's determination. "Foolish mortal," it sneered. "You think you can defy me? I am the Djinn, and I am eternal. She is mine now, body and soul." Aladdin's heart sank, but he refused to surrender. He had come too far, faced too much, to succumb to the Djinn's taunts. With a deep breath, he began to recite an incantation, one he had discovered within the ancient tomes of forgotten magic. The incantation was a ruse, a clever deception that Aladdin had devised. It played upon the Djinn's vanity, exploiting its desire for absolute control. With each word, the Djinn's grip on Jasmine weakened, its attention fixed on Aladdin's supposed submission. Just as the Djinn believed its victory was assured, Aladdin seized the opportunity. In one swift motion, he lunged towards the lamp, snatching it from the Djinn's grasp. The Djinn recoiled, fury contorting its features as it realized Aladdin's trickery. But before it could react, Aladdin rubbed the lamp vigorously, summoning the powers within. The Djinn's form began to waver, its essence being sucked back into the lamp. It shrieked with rage, its voice a cacophony of anguished fury. As the Djinn vanished into the lamp, a profound silence settled over the realm. Aladdin stood there, panting, the weight of his triumph mingled with the heaviness of loss. He had banished the Djinn, saved Jasmine from its clutches, but the price had been steep. Jasmine stood before him. Her eyes, once filled with innocence and love, were now clouded with a haunting emptiness. The darkness that had consumed her had left an indelible mark upon her soul. Aladdin approached Jasmine cautiously, his heart breaking at the sight of the woman he loved, forever changed. He reached out a trembling hand, but she flinched away, a flicker of fear crossing her face. "Jasmine, it's me, Aladdin," he whispered, his voice filled with sorrow. "I am so sorry for what you've endured." Jasmine's voice, a mere whisper, carried a hollowed resonance. "Aladdin, I remember fragments of who I was, but the darkness, it lingers within me. I don't know if I can ever be the same again." Epilogue: Embracing the Shadows. As Aladdin and Jasmine emerged from the Djinn's realm, their hearts heavy with the weight of their experiences, a realization settled upon them like a shroud. Jasmine, for a fleeting moment, had remembered her true self, but it had come too late. The corruption of the Djinn had taken hold, forever altering her essence. The darkness that had consumed Jasmine now coursed through her veins, empowering her with an unholy strength. A wicked smile played upon her lips as she surveyed the once bustling streets of Agrabah, now transformed into a playground of darkness and terror. Aladdin, torn between his love for Jasmine and the knowledge that her rule would bring only suffering, found himself at a crossroads. He could either fight against the darkness that had consumed his beloved or choose to embrace it and make this twisted world their own. In his heart, Aladdin still clung to the memories of their love, the joy they had shared before the Djinn's intervention. But he also knew that fighting against the darkness within Jasmine would be a battle he might never win. The Djinn had succeeded in corrupting her soul, leaving only fragments of the person she once was. With a heavy heart and resignation settling upon his shoulders, Aladdin made a decision. He would not fight against Jasmine's newfound rule, nor would he abandon her to her own darkness. Instead, he chose to stand by her side, accepting this new world of chaos as their home. Aladdin became her silent companion, a constant presence in the shadows. He no longer fought against the darkness, but rather embraced it, becoming a figure of mystery and intrigue. Together, they ruled over this realm of chaos, their actions guided by the whims of the corrupted soul within Jasmine. Their story, a tragedy forged from love and a fateful encounter with an ancient evil, became a cautionary tale whispered through the generations. Agrabah, now forever marked by their reign, remained a testament to the consequences of desires gone awry. And as the days turned into an eternity of shadows, Aladdin clung to the hope that one day, the light would pierce through the darkness, and Jasmine would be free once more. Until then, they would wander together, rulers of their own realm, forever bound by the consequences of his choices.